Hi, I'm Pastor Theron. Welcome to Church Where You Are and Story Sermons, relating life's experiences to the Bible. I'd like to tell you a story. But first, I'd like to say a special word of thanks and welcome, especially to some new friends and supporters where I work. Patsy and Wild Bill and Utah and Robert and my supervisor, Miss Liz. I appreciate y'all and taking time to watch these videos and comment on them and talk to me in the hallways and offices of work. I also like to say a word of thanks to some of my best supporters, Misty, of course, and Jolene and Jade, and those of you who've been watching, Jeremy. I appreciate you guys very much. Continue to watch and comment and share, and appreciate all the support. When I was in seminary, we used to spend all week at work and in class and doing everything that we were supposed to do. And then on the weekends, we would go for a Sunday drive or a weekend drive. And we would very often go way out into the backwoods of the areas around New Orleans. It doesn't take long. Once you get outside of the metro area, it turns to woods pretty quickly. And out there in the toe of the boot of Louisiana, there are still some wild places out there, and small towns and some very backwoods kind of places. Every, I don't know, 2.5 or 3 miles, you'll find a church, usually a Baptist church, Southern Baptist church more specifically. And this goes back to the old days, the old circuit riding preacher days, when a particular preacher would have a circuit that he rode, and he would go around to the different churches, and each weekend would go to a different church and fill in there, and the rest of the month the people would just kind of do the best they could. But when the preacher showed up, that was to be their weekend, and that's another story for another day. But every couple of miles you'll find a little Baptist church kind of on the bend of a windy road somewhere out in the edge of some small town. And so we would go out for a drive, and we'd find a place to have a hamburger and just spend the day outside of town. One Sunday in particular, we were out, way out, and it got to be evening time, and we thought, hey, why don't we stop and we'll attend a Sunday evening church service at one of these small churches. And so we did. Now, I've been a church member ever since I got saved in December of '93. We attended churches. I've attended all kinds of different kinds of churches, different churches in different places, different denominations. I always try to do the same thing. Most church members sit in the same place, and you know where that is. In the back. That's right. They always sit in the back. We refer to them as back row Baptists or just good Baptists. They always sit in the back row. So I would pick a place somewhere towards the middle and on one end, and that way, if somebody needed to get into the pew or something, I could just stand up and get out of the way like this. Well, so sure enough, this particular small country chapel had 3 rows. It had the center row of pews and the 2 outside rows of pews. Usually they're a little shorter, and sure enough they were, and we're looking towards the podium up front. We got there, we were, 15 minutes early or so, and there weren't a whole lot of people on this particular Sunday evening. And so we picked a place about halfway up and just on the outside, what you would call the right edge of the center pews. I kid you not, and this is the story. We are sitting there. William is on the far inside, and then my wife is sitting next to me, and then me here and on the outside. And no kidding, these 2 older, I call them Tweety Bird ladies. They looked like the lady who took care of Tweety Bird on Bugs Bunny cartoons. So these 2 Tweety Bird ladies come walking up with their dresses and their little hats on, and they have their purse, and they kind of hopped up to us, and she looked down at me and said, "You're in our spot." No kidding. You're in our spot. She didn't say hello. She didn't say praise the Lord. She didn't say, "Hi, my name is." She said, "You're in our spot." So I looked up at her and I said, "Oh, well, I didn't know they had assigned seating here." She said, "They don't, but this is our spot." I said, so is this the pew that you donated to the church? You know, sometimes there's a little brass plaque on the end of the pew, and that pew was donated by a family. I thought, I'm trying to figure something out here. She said, no, that one's over there, but this is where we sit. I said, so you're telling me you want us to get up and move so you can sit here in your usual spot? Now, there are 10 rows in front of us and 10 rows behind us, but this was their pew. So I said, so you want us to get up and move? She said, yes, I would like for you to do that. I was absolutely dumbfounded. I was befuddled. You can make up words at this point that don't make any sense. I was so confused and to the point of almost being angered by this. And that's why I wanted to share this. Last week I talked about how preachers should have something to offer their people. Churches should have something to offer their people. Now I want to talk to us church members. When we start attending church again, whenever churches start opening back up, and that's happening across the country, don't make this mistake. Don't be like those Tweety Bird ladies that walked up to me and asked us to move. They didn't know me from anybody. We may have been new to the area. I may have gotten a job somewhere and we had just moved in. They didn't know if we were Christians. They didn't even know our names, and certainly did not make us feel welcome. Wouldn't it have been better, in my way of thinking, for them to say, tell me your name. Can we sit beside you? We're going to sit in this pew. You could sit with us. Instead of just expecting people to know how to act in church that may never have been to church before, we don't always know the circumstances to which bring people to church. Some people are looking for direction. Some people are looking to change their lives. Some people are looking for hope, and they have no idea what the protocol of going to your particular church is. And that brings me to today's passage. It's from Psalm 100. And it says, shout for joy to the Lord, all the earth. Worship the Lord with gladness. Come before him with joyful songs. Know that the Lord is God. It is he who made us, and we are his. We are his people, the sheep of his pasture. Enter his gates with thanksgiving and his courts with praise. Give thanks to him and praise his name, for the Lord is good, and his love endures forever. His faithfulness continues to all generations. It doesn't say enter his courts with superiority. It doesn't say enter his gates with a sense of conviction and correction for people who are sitting in your spot. It doesn't say anything about coming in and making sure it's done right. It doesn't say anything about the church or the pew or the place being yours or mine or theirs or whoever. It says it belongs to the Lord, and we are his representatives. We are supposed to make new people feel welcome. We are on a mission to invite everybody to the banquet of the Lamb. We almost left, and had we not been mature in our faith, we would have left. I was absolutely confused by these ladies who came in and asked us to move. We could have just moved right out the door, and that would have been the end of it. They would never have known the difference. But we got up and we moved to a different pew. I don't remember the music. I don't remember the message because I was so mad. I don't even know the word, befuddled with what had happened, that it completely distracted me from everything else. Don't make this mistake. Don't force people to do it the way you think they should. Help people, especially those who you don't recognize, who may be new coming into your church, to feel welcome and to feel like they have entered into the courts of the Lord to offer their praise, however they know to do it. And you meet them where they are, being the mature and wise Christian, the believer for a long time. Help them find their way. And I think we'll have a better response, and we'll grow the kingdom of the Lord for the good, and we'll continue to add to the numbers daily. Thanks for watching.